Imagine, just for a moment, a single scientific breakthrough that could ripple across the globe, saving millions of lives while creating extraordinary wealth for those bold enough to invest early. This is not science fiction. This is the reality playing out right now in the world of biotechnology. In recent days, the biotech sector has been electrified, with stocks surging and news outlets abuzz. But beneath these headlines, a high-stakes race is underway. A race where not only fortunes and reputations, but the very future of medicine are on the line. What exactly is fueling this explosive growth in biotech? And could these soaring hopes come crashing down just as quickly? Biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies have long been synonymous with both incredible innovation and daunting risk. Imagine the scene. Teams of world-class scientists laboring in state-of-the-art labs, pouring billions of dollars and dedicating years or even decades of research to develop a single drug that might change the course of human health. The stakes are immense. Most experimental drugs never reach the market. Only a tiny sliver survive the brutal gauntlet of research, testing, and regulatory scrutiny. It is a journey marked by fierce competition, with regulatory bodies demanding immense proof of safety and efficacy, and clinical trials stretching for as long as a decade or more. Meanwhile, the cost of bringing a new drug to market has shot into the stratosphere, often requiring over $2 billion for a single successful launch. Yet, despite these formidable obstacles, the world's greatest medical challenges, chronic illnesses like diabetes and heart disease, rare and devastating genetic disorders, and the relentless scourge of cancer, continue to push scientists and investors to make ever greater bets. It's a world where failure is common, but the rewards for success are life-changing. The stakes have never been higher. Recently, three unstoppable forces have begun to reshape the entire landscape of biotechnology: artificial intelligence, personalized medicine, and revolutionary new methods of biomanufacturing. According to a landmark report by McKinsey, the integration of AI into drug discovery could slash development costs by as much as 40% and shrink timelines by a quarter. Just think about that. Years shaved off the journey from scientific idea to life-saving treatment. And this is not mere hype. Real-world companies are already taking flight because of these breakthroughs. Let's dive into the numbers. The personalized medicine market, which aims to tailor treatments to each patient's unique DNA, is projected to reach $2.4 trillion by the year 2030. This is not just a statistic. It's a seismic shift in how healthcare is delivered, promising more precise, effective, and safer treatments. Meanwhile, new biomanufacturing techniques, such as continuous manufacturing and single-use systems, are revolutionizing how drugs are produced. These innovations could reduce production costs by a third and increase yields by half, making medicines more affordable and accessible to people around the world. The results are already being seen. Take, for example, the dramatic events of this past Wednesday. Shares of ProKidney, a pioneer in regenerative medicine for chronic kidney disease, rocketed by more than a quarter after promising news broke about their RESCT Phase 3 trial. This trial, which is currently underway, holds the potential to revolutionize the treatment of chronic kidney disease, a condition that affects hundreds of millions globally. Interim data from this pivotal trial is expected in late 2025, and investors are watching eagerly. Rhythm Pharmaceuticals, another rising star, saw its shares surge by over 30%, driven by strong Phase 2 clinical results for bivamelagon in hypothalamic obesity, a rare and previously untreatable form of the disease. For Biopharma, a leader in immuno-oncology, has received much-anticipated FDA clearance for its Trem-cel investigational new drug application, paving the way for Phase 1 and 2 trials targeting acute myeloid leukemia. These kinds of milestones are transforming the fortunes of both patients and early investors. Cartesian Therapeutics is also in the spotlight. Their novel Descartes-08 therapy has demonstrated highly promising results in treating the debilitating condition myasthenia gravis, with a pivotal Phase 2b and 3 trial set to begin later this year. These are not isolated incidents. In the year 2024 alone, the United States Food and Drug Administration approved 68 novel drugs, a figure that speaks to the relentless pace of innovation. Remarkably, over 60% of these approvals targeted cancer or rare diseases, fields where unmet patient need is often greatest. But behind every headline of triumph, there is an undercurrent of anxiety. Despite the current boom, many investors are becoming increasingly cautious. Venture capital funding for biotech startups actually declined by 15% in the first half of 2025. The reasons are complex. Financial markets have grown volatile, regulatory agencies are tightening their scrutiny, and the sheer cost of bringing new drugs to market continues to climb. The promise of personalized medicine is enormous, but as Anna Jones from Fierce Biotech points out, scaling it up and making it affordable is a massive challenge. Even industry giants are not immune to these pressures. Take GlaxoSmithKline, or GSK, which reported an 8% rise in revenues, thanks to a strong portfolio of specialty medicines. Yet GSK and its peers are under relentless pressure to cut drug prices, speed up development, and clear ever-mounting regulatory hurdles. The biotech sector is a story of both dazzling opportunity and daunting risk. So what does all this mean for the future? Is biotechnology's latest rally a sign of unstoppable progress, marking the dawn of a golden era for medicine? Or are we witnessing the formation of a fragile bubble, one that could burst at any moment, erasing fortunes and delaying cures? To answer that, let's step back and consider the deeper trends and forces shaping this industry. Over the next few years, artificial intelligence has the potential to utterly transform how drugs are discovered and developed. Companies are already leveraging advanced machine learning to sift through vast libraries of chemical compounds, identify new drug candidates, and predict how they will interact with the human body. According to McKinsey's research, AI-driven approaches could shrink costs by nearly half and shave years off traditional timelines. Imagine taking what once took a decade and reducing it to just a handful of years. This is not just about speed. It's about unlocking cures for diseases that have long eluded medical science. But innovation comes with high stakes. The story of biotech is littered with clinical trial failures, sudden regulatory setbacks, and looming patent cliffs. Moments when blockbuster drugs lose their exclusivity and profits vanish almost overnight. Dr. John Smith of Evaluate Pharma warns, AI is turbocharging drug discovery, but the biggest hurdle is still regulatory validation. The science is moving faster than the rules. Personalized medicine, powered by breakthroughs in genomics and proteomics, is another revolution in progress. The concept is deceptively simple. Tailor each treatment to the specific genetic profile of each patient. In practice, making this vision a reality is a monumental task of time. The market could soar to over $2 trillion within the next decade, but as Anna Jones underscores, tailored therapies are revolutionary, but making them affordable and accessible to all is the real test. On the manufacturing front, biomanufacturing innovations are opening new doors. Techniques such as continuous manufacturing, single-use bioreactors, and advanced automation are making it possible to produce drugs more efficiently, with less waste and lower costs. Robert Brown of Global Data asserts that these innovations are vital for expanding access to life-saving medicines, especially in low- and middle-income countries. Yet, challenges persist. Even as production becomes more efficient, companies face mounting pressure to lower drug prices, meet rigorous quality standards, and scale up new technologies globally. The path from laboratory breakthrough to mass-market therapy is fraught with obstacles: technical, regulatory, and logistical. Let's not forget the human element. Behind every new drug is a patient waiting desperately for hope. The emotional stakes are enormous. For families facing a diagnosis of cancer or an untreatable rare disease, each new approval is a potential lifeline. But what about the risks that could derail these medical miracles? Market volatility is a constant threat. Just as quickly as biotech stocks can soar, they can plummet on the news of a failed trial or a negative regulatory decision. The decline in venture capital funding by 15% in the first half of this year is a stark reminder that investors are wary. Ethical dilemmas, such as gene editing and data privacy, are also coming to the forefront. As gene editing tools like CRISPR become more powerful, society must grapple with profound questions. How far should we go in altering our DNA? And who gets access to these technologies? Regulatory hurdles remain formidable. While the FDA and other agencies are working to modernize their processes, pledging to speed up reviews and encourage innovation, the pace of scientific progress often outstrips the ability of regulators to keep up. This mismatch can slow the arrival of new therapies and create uncertainty for companies and investors alike. There's another layer to consider: the global race for biotech leadership. Nations around the world are pouring resources into biotechnology, viewing it as a strategic industry that will define the future of healthcare and economic power. The United States remains a leader, but China, the European Union, and other countries are rapidly closing the gap, investing billions into R&D, talent development, and infrastructure. This global competition will shape the next generation of breakthrough and the next wave of winners and losers in the biotech race. History offers some instructive parallels. In the late 20th century, the world witnessed the rise of the information technology revolution, marked by the birth of personal computers, the internet, and smartphones. Early investors who recognized these trends reaped enormous rewards, while those who hesitated missed out on generational wealth. Today, a similar inflection point is unfolding in biotechnology, with artificial intelligence, gene editing, and digital health platforms playing the role once held by microchips and modems. But with great promise comes great peril. The dot-com bubble of the late 1990s is a cautionary tale. Overhyped expectations, easy money, and a rush to invest led to spectacular booms and equally spectacular busts. Biotech's current rally could herald a golden era, or it could be the prelude to a painful correction. The difference may lie in the ability of companies to turn scientific promise into real-world results and to navigate the complex landscape of funding, regulation, and public trust. Looking ahead, what practical lessons can we draw for investors, patients, and anyone watching this technological revolution unfold? First, for investors, keep a sharp eye on which companies are truly embracing digital transformation. Biopharma firms that are integrating artificial intelligence, continuous manufacturing, and personalized medicine into their core strategies are best positioned to lead. According to Deloitte's latest analysis, those that fail to adapt risk being left behind as the industry evolves. Diversification across different companies, technologies, and even geographies is more crucial than ever. Do not be swayed by hype alone. In the past year, the FDA approved 68 new drugs, but more than half of all projects failed to make it to market. The odds are tough, and patience is essential. Second, never underestimate the risks. Regulatory bottlenecks, ethical controversies, and funding crunches can quickly turn today's high flyers into tomorrow's cautionary tales. The story of Theranos, once a Silicon Valley darling, serves as a sobering reminder of how ambition without scientific rigor can end in disaster. Due diligence, careful research, and skepticism should guide every investment decision. For patients and their families, the practical message is this: change is accelerating, but patience and perseverance are still necessary. Revolutionary therapies, targeted cancer drugs, gene edits for inherited illnesses, treatments for conditions once thought hopeless, are closer than ever. But the journey from lab bench to bedside is still long and uncertain. Participation in clinical trials, advocacy for regulatory modernization, and informed dialogue with healthcare providers can all help speed the arrival of new treatments. The implications for society are profound. If the promise of personalized medicine is realized, we could see a world where treatments are tailored not just to diseases, but to individual people, taking into account their unique genetic makeup, lifestyle, and environment. This would mark a fundamental shift from the one-size-fits-all approach that has dominated medicine for centuries. But ensuring that these breakthroughs are accessible to all, regardless of income or geography, remains a monumental challenge. The risk is that the benefits of biotechnological innovation could become concentrated among the wealthy, exacerbating health disparities. There are also important ethical and environmental considerations. As biomanufacturing scales up, companies will face growing scrutiny over their environmental footprint. Brands, greener manufacturing processes, reduced reliance on animal testing, and sustainable sourcing of raw materials are becoming priorities for both regulators and consumers. The rise of preventative medicine and early diagnostic tools, powered by AI and genomics, could shift the focus of healthcare from treatment to prevention, potentially reducing the burden of chronic disease and improving quality of life worldwide. Looking further ahead, the next big leap in medicine may not be a single miracle cure, but a smarter, more efficient system for discovering, testing, and delivering therapies. Behind the scenes, algorithms are revolutionizing everything from clinical trial design to drug safety monitoring. Automation is speeding up laboratory processes, slashing costs, and reducing errors. Smarter clinical trials, powered by real-world data and digital health records, are making it possible to bring new treatments to patients faster than ever before. Dr. John Smith puts it succinctly: the real revolution in biotech may be in how we discover and deliver medicines, not just in the medicines themselves. And remember, the next giant leap in medicine may not be a single drug or therapy, but a smarter, more inclusive, and more responsive healthcare system. The future belongs to those who are ready to embrace the unknown, take calculated